Should governments ban price discrimination? Hi everyone, today I'd like to discuss a fascinating issue in microeconomics and competition policy. Should governments prohibit price discrimination, or should firms be allowed to charge different prices to different consumers? In everyday life, we often assume that identical products should have identical prices. However, this assumption rarely holds in modern markets. Students receive discounted movie tickets. Airlines charge different passengers different fares for the same flight. Streaming services often offer discounted subscription plans in developing countries. These practices are all examples of price discrimination, the practice of charging different prices for the same or substantially similar products based on consumers' willingness to pay. Supporters argue that price discrimination can improve economic efficiency. In a uniform pricing system, some consumers are unwilling or unable to purchase a product because the single price is too high. By charging lower prices to price-sensitive consumers while charging higher prices to others, firms can expand output and serve more customers. Economists refer to this expansion of mutually beneficial transactions as an improvement in allocative efficiency. Another advantage concerns innovation. Industries with high fixed costs and low marginal costs, such as software, pharmaceuticals, airlines, and digital platforms, often rely on differential pricing to recover enormous research and development expenditures. Without the ability to segment consumers according to willingness to pay, firms might reduce investment in products that require substantial upfront costs. Price discrimination can therefore contribute to dynamic efficiency by encouraging long-term innovation. However, critics argue that price discrimination raises serious concerns regarding fairness. Consumers purchasing identical goods may discover that they paid dramatically different prices simply because an algorithm predicted their purchasing behavior. Such outcomes often appear arbitrary and undermine public trust. The increasing use of artificial intelligence has intensified these concerns. Firms can now analyze browsing histories, purchasing patterns, geographic locations, and even device types to estimate each consumer's maximum willingness to pay. This practice, known as algorithmic price discrimination, raises questions about transparency and consumer autonomy. Another concern involves market power. Price discrimination generally becomes more feasible when firms possess significant market dominance and detailed consumer data. Rather than promoting competition, personalized pricing may allow dominant firms to extract a greater share of consumer surplus, transferring economic welfare from consumers to producers. Critics therefore argue that stronger privacy protections and competition policies are needed to prevent abuse. In my opinion, governments should not prohibit all forms of price discrimination. Student discounts, senior citizen discounts, and lower prices in lower income countries may enhance both efficiency and social welfare. However, regulators should require transparency whenever firms employ algorithmic pricing based on extensive personal data. Consumers should understand when and why they are receiving personalized prices, and discriminatory pricing practices that exploit information asymmetries should be subject to legal oversight. Ultimately, price discrimination illustrates an important lesson in economics. A policy that improves efficiency does not necessarily promote fairness. Public policy should therefore evaluate markets not only by how efficiently they allocate resources, but also by whether they preserve transparency, competition, and consumer trust. So here's my question for you. Should companies be free to charge different consumers different prices if doing so increases overall economic efficiency? Or should governments require greater pricing equality to protect fairness and transparency? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for listening. See you next time.